What's going on, guys? It's Shawnee Salami. A goal for a really long time for me has been to get 100 kills in a game. This one we came up short, but I honestly think this was the most in the zone I've ever been for an entire game. It was crazy. I'd really like for you guys to see how devastating the longsword can be when you are in that zone. It almost feels like you activated an ultra or special ability in a different kind of game, because sometimes you'll just get really streaky and get a lot of kills very quickly, but it really did feel like that was what was going on this whole time. And the longsword is a weapon I would consider A tier. I don't think it's as good as weapons like the greatsword or messer that I also run a lot. There's plenty of weapons better than it, but it's definitely a competitive option. And the consensus, I think, is pretty accurate that it has a very low skill floor. If you're spamming slashes, it's going to be a terrible weapon. But if you're really mixing up your attacks using stabs and heavy overheads, things like that do a lot more damage with it, it really does have a high skill ceiling where it'll reward smart and good play. And a lot of those target switching and look-offs you do really just, it feels great with this weapon. Strida is legitimately one of the best longsword players. It's not just about him having a platform, it's also about his in-game ability. And he does this stuff in first person. I don't know how. He considers it the best weapon in the game, which I think is a little crazy, but it's definitely a weapon that rewards those target switching and look-offs that you'll see him do. I'll come up with a few examples of it during the gameplay. I've really kind of added that to my repertoire, as also I've been doing a lot more kicks. Stepbo said even at the highest level, and I am name dropping him a lot by the way, but he's one of the people training me, that even at the highest level people do fall for those. And if I notice a player is holding block while I've been in their lobby, I'll do it all the time now, especially after a jab. Just because in a public lobby, it really does kind of punish a lot of bad players. Good player, it's really not going to work on, although jab to kick, it does work pretty well. But it's something I'm kind of adding to pad my stats a little bit. The 100 kill game is going to happen pretty soon. I've just been really improving as a player. And like I said, this was going to be close. I'll leave you guys to see how close we get and how this game ends up. But let's get into the gameplay, where we're letting this go on a while. I'm in way too deep, by the way. Lately, the objective isn't something I've been stressing as much. I find it really rewarding to do, and I think it's a lot more fun. But as I've been grouping up with viewers and a lot of friends and parties, it really can just be too easy to win, quite honestly. Especially now that the game is more balanced and it keeps your party together and it's less auto balance for us. It really does feel awful to end maps like Linespire or Rudhelm too early. And they did a really great job where the levels are kind of evened out on each side. I don't know if there's an invisible MMR or it's by level, but either way, it's been pretty even, I've said recently. I'm not going to switch to defense anymore to help a team out, because I'm finding that every time I do that, it becomes a little too easy to win on there. Again, I'm not trying to talk about how great I am, but it's just kind of comes from a lot of playtime. I'm pretty experienced at this point. This is a little bit of what I'm talking about as you see these fights unfold. I'm doing a really good job using my footwork to get the stabs in behind their block and drag it into them. It's just such a good weapon for that, but that guy does come out on top for the 1 versus 1. Great work by him. And like I said, we came close, so we're on absolute fire already. We're not really having much trouble. We have piled up some deaths, but I'm also being reckless. I've been trying to work on positioning, as you guys know, but right now it's all about the kills. I'm just getting a little too full of myself and get way too deep in there. That guy's gonna punish me. He clearly knew what he was doing. So I need to get the objective done at this point, and there's only a minute left, and I get in there pretty easily. This is kind of what you need to get a high kill game, is a lot of bad players. They just let me get right behind them, but you'll never guess what happens next. I've been playing a little bit of more Vanguard recently, and it's kind of making me realize I should be using more feints. It does kind of get me in trouble with Knight a little bit, but I do think it's something I can add, just even with this class. Less stamina does become a problem. I should be monitoring it more. A little bit of a death streak now. This happens sometimes, even in these high kill games. It is a little regrettable because I could have got even more and even closer. It is what it is, though. I felt like I was pressing a little bit at this point when I had a great stage at the first point. By the way, I've talked about this before. I can be talking about my numbers a little too much and my stats in games, but after you've played this game a lot, you really do kind of race yourself a little bit, see if you can put up those really big games. And lately, I've kind of returned to talking about it slightly. It's something I was trying to stop doing for a while, and I probably should tone it down a little bit, but it really is about trying to improve and get those, I would say, numbers up just so I see a reflection of the skill increase I'm getting. So good work here for my team to get that done, continue the game. They didn't have a lot of killing power. That was all kind of my job, really. I was doing the objective and fighting near it when I had to, but this team really was lacking in the kill department, and it does kind of cost us later, as you'll see. We just love dumb archers. This guy's not even going to hear me get behind him. I absolutely hate those guys, and a nice free kill. Good flank here, though, and we help the team keep moving by getting those and stabbing from behind. I've been trying to use more special attacks when people are leaving their back open like that. It's just the longsword specifically, I do miss a lot with them. Not sure why that is. It's a pretty cursed attack for me. I really do get too cocky and fight on the front lines too much, and I'm noticing as I work on my positioning, you do get a lot of free kills from smarter play and getting those flanks in as well. This is really just such a consistent thing you can do in these lobbies is jab to kick. And what's really great is if they don't hold block after the jab, which most players are going to, you kind of can recover before that kick doesn't work. You're on the brink of death. I'm not stressing it and still just winning these 1vx's. Here I'm pretty sure I'm going to die, but I am able to get up and get some really clutch teammates. This is what it looks like to be in the zone with the longsword. It really just can be a devastating weapon. It reminds me of, like, you know, when Jon Snow was in that battle and they had the tracking shot and he's just killing everyone and going berserk on the Boltons. That's why I love this weapon, is it just feels so good to use and natural. I don't really think any weapon can quite hit like this and give you that action movie feel. It just got the kill streak godlike, and that's really the second highest, I believe. I think Wicked Sick may be higher for kill streaks, but usually you'll get that in a game where you don't die at all. It just goes to show that I was just locked in for this one. I don't really know what that was about, and it kind of came out of nowhere. Now, unfortunately, our teammate is doing his best to help. No worries on this one, but the 35 kill streak does come to an end. Some quick deaths in a row here. We're starting to notice the timer is ticking down. We really do want to get on those cages at this point, and it's costing us a little in the death department. That's kind of what you got to do to win these games, and also extend them if you're trying to go for that 100 kill game, as I said. Death is going to be assured at this point. What I'm really trying to do, and what worked well, is kind of distract them, because they're all going to go after me. They're not really as focused on the cage as they should be, and a lot of them, I pulled 3 directly towards me. Again, no disrespect to this team, it was a lot of lower levels. I'm kind of bringing it on myself to get a lot of this done, and now we're going to open that last cage on our own. We had a lot of teammates around, but we had the hits to get on it. I was really trying to press for kills at this point, because I did think that enough people on the other team are not going to the spawn wave. That's kind of what makes high kill players so valuable, even if they're not on the objective. So that was really the responsibility in my head I was kind of taking on to keep this game going on attack. Skipping a little bit ahead here, because we didn't take the forward spawn, it was a bit of a walk. A problem that I'm running into in my head right now is, because I'm talking about a lot of the kill power not being there, the bridge is one, even if they're on the objective, which this team was doing their best, like I said, don't get me wrong, we really need to be out killing them to get this capture, to my understanding. I started to press a little bit here as well. I'm going to be honest, I choked a little bit when I started noticing that my kills were high, and the team really needed me to go to work here to try and get this done. I was thinking about switching to the messer, and I don't regret that. Just because the longsword got me this far, I figured that's what I should stay with. I'm doing all I can at this point. I got us down early by not getting enough of those kills to clear the bridge, but time is ticking at this point, because I'm noticing our progress is going a little too slow. And if I'm going to be dying like this and respawning, it's really just costing us like 20 seconds. And again, I really sound like a broken record. This team had a lot of low levels. It's not their fault whatsoever. Until the middle part of this bridge stage, I would honestly consider that the best stretch of gameplay I've ever had. I just never felt as in the zone as this. Even in like the 90 kill game, I piled up the deaths. We really were very close to that 100 kill game. If we managed to get past this, I do think it would have been nearly assured, just because we would have a lot of time on the crank stage of the gate. I'd probably decline the VIP. Really unfortunate they couldn't get it done, but that is mostly on me, guys, because I think I didn't do my part. Started pressing a little too much. The team did all they could, as I said. 116 takedowns and 61 kills is great for a full-length game, but it is what it is. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one.